It's great to be here, and General Wills, thank you for that kind welcome, and thank you also for the leadership that you show, and the very important job you do by heading the NATO headquarters here in Sarajevo. And for me, it's always good to be back in Sarajevo. I was, the first time I was in Sarajevo was back in 1964. Then I was a child, and my father was a diplomat in the former Yugoslavia. And we traveled around, and I remember very well that we visited Sarajevo many times. And it's also nice to be back in Sarajevo to see the snow and to see the mountains. It reminds me a bit about my own country in Norway, where we also have a lot of snow and mountains. I will give an introduction, say some words about the partnership and the cooperation we are developing between NATO and Bosnia-Herzegovina. And then afterwards, I'm more than happy to answer your questions. December last year marked the 21st anniversary of the Dayton Peace Agreement. That agreement ended 4 years of war, and it lifted the siege of this beautiful city, which led to death and suffering for so many people. In the 2 decades since, much has changed. The city and the country have been rebuilt. There is democracy and visa-free travel within the EU Schengen zone. All of this required a huge degree of political cooperation and effort by all the people of Bosnia and Herzegovina and by the political parties. Sorry, it doesn't work. And I think now it works better. The leadership which this required from the political leaders in Bosnia-Herzegovina has been of great importance for transforming Bosnia-Herzegovina. And of course, this has been done by the people of Bosnia-Herzegovina, by the politicians and the leadership in Bosnia and Herzegovina, but NATO has been an important part of this transformation. NATO helped to end the war, and it helped to cement the peace, supporting the creation of new unified institutions. This is the core of NATO's partnership with Bosnia and Herzegovina. One of the most significant achievements has been the creation of the Joint Armed Forces. At the end of the war, there were more than 400,000 troops, bitterly divided between 3 armies at war with each other. Today, there is a single professional army of around 10,000 soldiers and 5,000 reservists under a unified chain of command. This is a truly remarkable achievement. It shows what is possible when difficult issues are tackled with ambition and a spirit of consensus. It is a model that others can learn from. The Defense Review, adopted last year, will further modernize the Joint Armed Forces. Yesterday, the implementation plan was adopted. This is real progress, and it shows real commitment. Of course, there are many challenges still to be faced, but this country has come a very long way. NATO's partnership with Bosnia-Herzegovina is fundamentally about improving the everyday lives of the people of this country. It is about peace and stability. It is about making sure that women play their full role in society. It is about fighting corruption, ensuring that defense institutions are under democratic control, use resources appropriately, and are transparent and accountable. It is also about strengthening your ability to respond to natural disasters. That is why in 2014, NATO answered Bosnia's call for help during the devastating floods. Since then, we have been working to strengthen our ability to deal with natural disasters. And this September, Bosnia will host a major NATO civil emergency exercise in Tuzla, one of the areas most affected by the floods. But our partnership is a two-way street. Bosnia and Herzegovina now makes an important contribution to international security. Bosnia is part of NATO's ongoing support to Afghanistan, with 55 people currently on duty with our Resolute Support mission in Afghanistan. I've just met and thanked some of those who have served in Afghanistan from Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia and Herzegovina has also played a role in UN peacekeeping missions in Cyprus, Congo, Liberia, and South Sudan. And Bosnia and Herzegovina has also started the process of applying for full membership in the NATO alliance. Membership is not easy to achieve. It lies at the end of a long path of reform. But Bosnia is moving forward. The defense review is an important step. Bosnia now needs to deliver for the benefit of all its people and its security. This includes the registration of defense properties, placing them under the control of the state. I urge all parties to work together with unity of purpose for the benefit of all citizens of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Compromise can be difficult, but it's also vital if the citizens of this country are to have the bright future they so much deserve. NATO will support you all the way, but the future is in your own hands. And with unity, determination, and yes, compromise, great things can be achieved. For so long, the history of our continent, Europe, was dominated by violence and mistrust. Even my own country, Norway, and our Scandinavian neighbors, Sweden and Denmark, were at war for centuries. We used to fight each other. Now we are the best friends. We learned to overcome the past. We moved forward. It can be done. The Western Balkans region is also moving forward. This year we expect to welcome Montenegro as the 29th member of the NATO alliance. Croatia and Slovenia are now members of NATO and of the European Union. The same is possible here. The future of Bosnia and Herzegovina is important to NATO. Our histories are closely entwined. NATO intervention brought peace to Bosnia, but it also transformed NATO. It was the first time that NATO had conducted an operation beyond its borders. The NATO-led missions marked a historic shift in the very nature of the alliance, from focusing purely on defending NATO allies to projecting stability beyond our own borders, building up the forces and strengthening the institutions of our partners, working with the UN, the EU, and the OSCE. This is what we have done in the region. This is what we have done in Afghanistan, and this is what we are doing in North Africa and in the Middle East. We live in uncertain times with challenges from a more assertive Russia, from turmoil in the Middle East, and from terrorism in our own countries. That terrorist threat has been felt here in Bosnia. There have been attacks, and in recent years, hundreds of men and women have traveled to Iraq and Syria to join ISIL and to join Al-Qaeda. None of today's challenges can be dealt with by any country standing alone, but by standing together in common cause through the NATO alliance. I believe there is no challenge that we cannot overcome. NATO wants a united Bosnia and Herzegovina to succeed. We want you to take your rightful place as a member of the Euro-Atlantic community. And we will support you on the path in any way that we can. This is about more than meeting common standards and technical arrangements. It is about joining a community of nations dedicated to democracy, human rights, the rule of law, and to each other. A community that has spread greater peace and prosperity across our continent than ever before. Joining the Euro-Atlantic community requires responsible leadership. And that leadership has to come from you and your political leaders, while fully respecting your democratic institutions and your constitution. Everyone needs to come together in a spirit of unity and mutual respect to do what needs to be done. For a confident and thriving Bosnia and Herzegovina is not only good for you, it is good for the whole of the Western Balkans and for all of Europe. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for being interested in how we can strengthen the partnership between Bosnia and Herzegovina and NATO. Thank you.